Hi, I'm Jack Maxwell. Welcome to Jack's Place, the place we go to get away from it all. But because we get away from it all, we also have to acknowledge what's going on in the world. We are all hurting right now, and we must be better. We have to be better. We're the United States of America. So I'm going to be better. How about you? Thank you for joining me. There's a lot to talk about. This is the musical edition of Jack's Place. Although I don't sing or dance or play guitar, although I kind of almost did play guitar for a while. So we'll talk about that too. It's also National Cancer Survivors Day. I'm in that group, not a group I want to be in, but if you have cancer, you want to be in that group. Because the other side of it, and here's the banner, the other side of that is to not be in the survivors group. So we don't want that either. One day I'll be there, but not yet. Not yet. So congratulations to everybody who is a survivor. And if you're going through it, I don't know what to say other than if you ever want to reach out, I'm here for you. I promise. There are so many ways to get in touch with me. It's Southie Jack at Twitter and Instagram. If you see my face on my Facebook page, just reach out. I've been cancer buddy to many people. And I imagine I will be going forward to many more, and I'm happy to do so because it can be a scary thing, but I'm here to tell you, you can get past it, and you can have a better life on the other side. I certainly do, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for you. So reach out anytime. As a matter of fact, I'd like to toast to all the survivors, including myself. Cheers. And what I'm drinking today, as you know, it's Jack's Place. We have a drink together. This, I don't know if you can see that. It's not as red as it looks in real life. This is a tequila sunrise. Okay, so why a tequila sunrise? Well, a couple of reasons. One, what does a sunrise represent? A new day, a new beginning. It's not as simple as just pushing the reset button. We have to deal with a lot of things here in our country. I love this country. I don't want to leave. I never will. But we must have justice for all, regardless of who you are. No one is either above or beneath the law. We must right these wrongs. And again, I'm saying to you, it starts with me, because if there's not justice for all, there's justice for no one. There's no justice at all. So I'm going to reach out, try to be a better person and be kinder and more gentle. Hope you will too. Hope you'll join me. So another reason to have the tequila sunrise. First of all, well, I like it. I suppose that's another reason too. But there's two parts to the second reason, if that's not too confusing. The tequila sunrise was invented right here in Phoenix, Arizona at the Arizona Biltmore back in the 30s, I believe. But not this tequila sunrise. Confused yet? Oh, that's good. The modern version of the tequila sunrise, which is tequila and, well, 3 parts tequila, 6 parts orange juice, and 1 part grenadine with a cherry, which is in there somewhere, and an orange slice generally, but I took that out because it got in the way. Nothing comes between me and my alcohol. This one was created, so I guess it was recreated at the Trident in Sausalito, California in the 70s. And that's me at the Trident. A couple of years ago when I was doing Booze Traveler, Best Bars was the name of that particular series. And Best Dockside Bar, Best Bar with a View. I forget why we were at the Trident, but this place is just loaded with history. As a matter of fact, like I said, in the 70s, this version of the Tequila Sunrise came out. A couple of bartenders there. Sorry, gents, your names escape me at this particular moment. But Bob Freeman is the owner of the place when we were there. And he fed us and showed us around and told us some great history. Janis Joplin had a table right there, and he pointed that out and said, that's where she used to sit, and it's the window. And I sat there and looked out and imagined what she saw, what she might have been going through at that particular time. Janis Joplin, it's just the musical history. Then, of course, you hear about this album called Rumors by Fleetwood Mac? Yeah, kind of popular. One of the great albums of all time, and certainly one of the most popular albums. And everything that they went through, Fleetwood Mac, and they were so honest about the heartache and the turmoil they went through while recording that. And that was just right up the street. So they would come in and have drinks and fight or not fight. And then, of course, the tequila sunrise itself. Oh, Oh, we also have Otis Redding singing "Dock of the Bay" right before he passed away, I guess, right outside there. He was not inspired to write that song from that dock right there, but he played just right next door to the place. So I was told by again Bob Freeman. But the Tequila Sunrise, what does that have to do with the Trident? Other than this version was created there, it's a great story. You're gonna love this. If you love the Rolling Stones like I do, so one day they come up on their yacht, and they look out, and the sun's coming up, and I guess it was either Keith Richards or Mick Jagger that said, "Hey, make me something that looks like that." So the bartender did, and they loved the Tequila Sunrise so much, they named their tour the Tequila Sunrise Tour. And then, of course, the Eagles made it famous with the song and all that. So here's to you. Tell me what you're drinking, by the way, because maybe I'll get some ideas. Oh, and as always, not always, but most of the time I do a little tweak. This has orange juice, a little bit of tangerine juice. I like it tart, and it kills the sweetness just a little bit. Hi, Tom Rosa. Hi, Jack. We're having a glass of Cabernet with you. Wonderful. And who's we? Everybody? The girls? I know Tom Rosa. And as a matter of fact, I'll be talking about an organization he belongs to in just a little while. Also, if you are a cancer survivor, not only can you reach out to me personally, but please come on the show. Tell us what you've gone through if you'd like, and what you do to get through those lonely and tough, sometimes painful days. So, or if there are cancer survivors in your life, as the banner says. Anything you want to talk about, this is your time. But there is a lot to talk about, not just musically. There's something else. We're making Tequila Sunrises right now. Fantastic. Maybe we inspired you, or it just happened to be a coincidence. You never know. Also, so there's a bit of seriousness to this as well, and it's very relevant to what's going on now. So, well, let me say this: when you teach a man to hate and fear his brother, when you teach that he is a lesser man because of his color or his beliefs or the policies he pursues, when you teach that those who differ from you are a threat to your freedom or your job or your family, then you also learn to confront others not as fellow citizens, but as enemies. That was said by Robert F. Kennedy. Pretty relevant now, isn't it? So we'll just leave that right there. And I'll tell you about an organization that has to do with that. This is my guitar. Let me put that there. It's broken now because I was doing another show that I do on Friday nights called The High Road. It's 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. I was interviewing a basketball player, Al Harrington, and I knocked this over, and it shattered. The neck broke right there. So I signed it only for one reason, not because I think you want it or it's worth anything. But a lot of people reached out to me and said, hey, you should auction that off. And, of course, I would do it for charity. So I picked a charity. I picked the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps, and for a great reason. Just coincidentally, 52 years ago yesterday, we lost Robert F. Kennedy. He was shot the day before, actually, June 5th at the Audubon Ballroom. Excuse me, not the Audubon. I'm sorry. What was the name of that hotel? They've torn the Ambassador Hotel in L.A. after winning California's Democratic primary. On to Chicago. One of the last things he said, but when he was in the kitchen, when he got shot, it's rumored that his very last words were, is everybody okay? Because that's the kind of person he was. So that's 1968, 52 years ago yesterday. And in 1969, an organization was founded in his name, in his honor, to continue his good work. And it is the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps. And they stand for juvenile justice, child welfare, and they look out for at-risk youth. I have a loose affiliation with them. I've done a couple of things for them, and I'm very happy and proud to do so. But I'd like to introduce you right now to the man who connected me with them, and maybe he'll help me auction off the guitar. Charlie Shaughnessy. Hi, Charlie.
Hey, Jack. Cheers.
Cheers. What are you drinking, pal?
I've got a little mezcal here, a little mezcal on the rocks, a little twist.
I think actually, of the few times you've been out here, last time we went drinking, I believe it was a bar that was specialized in mezcal, was it not?
It was indeed. It was. It's become my drink of choice. I have to say, it's got that smoky. It's like they smoke the agave, the stuff that makes the tequila. You kind of get it roasted, and it has this great roasted, smoky taste flavor to it. It's a delicious drink. You can drink it a number of ways: on ice with a little slash of orange or lemon or lime or neat. I'm a happy man with a glass of mezcal in front of me.
Me too. I used to love tequila, and then I went to mezcal. I mean, I love them both, but mezcal is a later find in life for me. Diana Lynn Barhurst loves Smokey.
Love
I don't think you mean Smokey the beer. Okay, we're gonna have to deal with this, Charlie. I'm sorry. Dale Hopkins says, "Hi, Mr. Sheffield."
Okay. Hi, Dale.
As you know, folks, Charlie Shaughnessy played Maxwell Sheffield for 6 years on the very successful series The Nanny. And of course, at the end, he gets to marry Fran Drescher. What a run that was.
It was a great run. We had a really good time. It was the little show that could. No one imagined when we started that it was going to take off the way it did. So it was an exciting ride. I remember when we got a second season pickup. I remember Fran saying to me, "Hang on, the rocket ride is just starting." And boy, was she right.
And did you ever picture it going 6 years? And what was that like? Did that change your life?
Yeah. I mean, it does. As an actor, you kind of dream of getting on a show that becomes that successful. And so for a while you're in, it's funny. What happens is you then find yourself in this kind of literally like a rocket ship. You know how small the compartment, the capsule of a rocket ship is. So you're kind of in this little closed space, the gang that was The Nanny, with this huge rocket behind us, shooting off into space. But it's also, in a strange way, it can be a little confining. You become so identified with that it's difficult to get outside that capsule and sort of be seen as anything else. So on the one hand, it's a fantastic ride that you've dreamt of all your life. And, suddenly you have money in the bank and you can buy nice things, get a house, and you sort of have your fame and celebrity. But at the same time, there's a certain kind of restriction that happens as a result. So 6 years was perfect. It was like enough time to really make a mark, but everyone was then able to go off and do our own things as well.
At the same time, I think Gilligan's Island ran only 3 seasons, and Bob Denver was stuck forever as Gilligan. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it can be limiting. But yeah, listen, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I was very grateful for it and loved that time. And The Nanny will always have a huge part of a huge part of my life.
But you were also great as Shane Donovan in Days of Our Lives.
Yeah,
and I know that there are a ton of people who remember you from that and just love you from that. I know I have people that know we're friends and they bring that up as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they love you for both. You weren't just one, and very different characters as well.
Very different. And the soap fans, there's no one more loyal than the soap fan. I mean, they stick with those stories for generations. I mean, I've met people who were introduced to it as 2-3-year-olds on their grandma's knee, and then watched it all the way through college and are now, telling their kids all about Days of Our Lives. So it's generational and it's a devoted fan base. And you're right, right to this day, I haven't been on for a long time. I'm definitely not the callow youth that I was when I was Shane Donovan. And yet people still come up and talk very lovingly about that character and those storylines.
I'd like, if you can stick around, answer a couple of questions from fans, because I know you have about 1 million times more than I do. So thank you for coming on. But
sure.
Tell us about the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Jack, for doing this. I mean, it's such a wonderful gesture to auction off the guitar. I had, as you were saying that, I had this idea of calling it, I don't know, what was it? A guitar. Oh, Dreams of a Broken Guitar. There you go. The dreams of a broken guitar. That this guitar has entertained and amused people all its life. And now it's broken. It isn't useless. You're putting it to this terrific use to serve the kids that are served by Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps. And I came in touch with it like 12, 15 years ago through the guy you mentioned, Tom Rosa. And I was so impressed at what they do. What they do is they try to intervene between kids who have had a really sort of bad start in life. They've come from broken homes. There's been families ravaged by drug addiction or alcoholism, substance abuse, or just plain abuse or absenteeism. A lot of them come from homes where one or both parents are really not there. And it's so easy for those kids to fall in with the wrong guy, someone in the neighborhood who wants to get them involved in nefarious deeds, or maybe even a family member. There's a story of a 10-year-old who was made to collect his mother's boyfriend's drugs every day, and so got caught up in drug running as a 10-year-old, 8-year-old, I think he was. So those kids have so little chance when that's all they know, that their life can easily go down the tubes with incarceration, juvenile detention, and then incarceration as adults because of the recidivism and not learning any alternatives and not being supported in finding themselves and a useful life. So what RFK CAC does is they intervene in the courts and talk to judges and schools and families and say, look, rather than putting the kid away and throwing away the key basically for the rest of their lives, let us give them a program, put them in a program, sometimes a residential program, can be non-residential, where we can come and support the child, talk to the family if necessary, educate them, give them mentors or one-on-one mentors. The older ones that give them maybe work internships, and take this child and steer it, guide it to realize the full potential that their lives lead, rather than allowing them to just fall into the system and be a wasted life. And I was so impressed with the work they do and with the results they've had, talking to some of these kids who are now adults and leading very successful, productive lives, that it just seemed to me one of the most important kind of organizations and charities to focus on that work, on taking a child's life and giving that life an opportunity to develop and shine and realize their talents and potential, rather than just disposing of them. And it was something very close to Robert F. Kennedy's heart and my heart and the people that work at the organization. So they've been doing incredible work. You've been doing some incredible work for us, coming to fundraisers. It's a difficult time for everyone right now with this virus. It's meant that they haven't been able to do some of the fundraising and outreach that they'd like to do. So I've been very involved online, as I know you have, helping them out. And this auction will do a lot to not only raise some funds, but to raise awareness of what they do. And I really urge anyone who's here tonight to check out their website and learn a bit more about them, because they do incredibly valuable work.
All right, Charlie, I'm going to show this guitar again. It's just a broken little box guitar, and the proceeds will go to the RFK Children's Action Corps, Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps, and you can bid right now on the screen. And my producer, Ken, you're there, right? Can we show Ken? You know Ken from my other show, Belly Up. He's the judge. Say hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
He's trying to juggle everything at once, folks. So there you go.
Mezcal hat.
He is. Oh, nice. He's also involved with the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps. So we're all just trying to pitch in while we can, whenever we can, to make the world just a little bit better. But Charlie got me involved, and I'm so happy to do so. Where should we start the bidding on this guitar that I played so horribly during Name That Quarantine? I tried to teach myself how to play guitar while we were on lockdown, and I posted those. And people said whatever they said, and it was kind of fun playing that. But it's yours if you want to. Charlie, what do you think we should start with?
I would think, you put me on the spot here, so I'm not sure.
$1?
What?
$1. How about that?
$1. $1.
Anyone want to start? Or you can start with your own bid, by the way. And I know, because this was the last second thing, I'm so lucky to have Charlie on. He's going to talk about something we're doing together in a couple of weeks, right, Charlie? You want to talk about that? Then I'll say the other idea I have.
Sure. Well, I because, as I said, because the RFK Children's Action Corps, they couldn't do any physical outreach and fundraising, and had to cancel a bunch of events. So I was talking to Tom Rosa, and we decided to try and do an ephemeral every now and again. Streaming chat show, like I'd call it, conversations in the time of coronavirus. And I would talk to different people about their lives and see if we can tie it into some of the work that the organization does. And Jack, yourself, has been very kind to kick us off with our first show on the 18th of this month. We're going to be, I'm going to be talking to you, Jack, about your life and about your career, and some of the things where we've worked together on different projects, and then tie it back to the kids in Massachusetts, where this is based out of, and talk a bit about your background growing up in the projects of Southie in Boston, and what you saw in those days, and if there had been the presence of something like the Robert F. Kennedy organization, what that might have meant to you and some of the people that you grew up with. So I'm looking forward to that on the 18th. I hope that you guys that are watching tonight will come and join us on that, and we can continue some of this conversation then.
And how would they find us, Charlie? Before we have some bids coming in.
It streams on the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps Facebook page, as well as my Facebook page. I think it's Facebook Live.
Okay, and that's going to be June 18th, right?
June 18th, and I'll have it on my Instagram. We'll have it publicized on the Instagram account sort of in the next few days. I'm going to get a nice little poster out, a little flyer. So if you check my Instagram, Charles Shaughnessy, or check Jack's, I'm sure he'll have it on his, or the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps. You'll see the details as to where and when to tune in.
Wonderful. I'm really looking forward to that. We got some bids. Beth Butler bid $200. Thank you, Beth. Then Lynn McCary came back with $225, and then I missed it, but someone did $226. $250 says Beth Rossi. Yeah, let's do it in $25 increments, shall we? So we have $250 from Beth Rossi, and I'm about to put my friend, and I hope we're still friends after this, on the spot. Not only are we going to auction off the guitar, which I will send to you, and I'll wrap it nice so that you get it, and we could talk about this as well. But I am volunteering my friend, Charlie. He will give you a phone call through me. We'll route it through my phone, Charlie. So he'll spend a couple of minutes with you.
As long as I don't have to sing.
No promises. Beth Butler comes back with $300 because of that. So Charlie will talk to you on the phone about Shane Donovan, about Maxwell Shepard, he was also on Mad Men. He's done so many things. Just a couple of minutes, of course, if you want to hear his voice. A personal one-to-one phone call. I swear I just thought of that right now. I hope it's not bad.
I'd be delighted.
I don't know
if I have enough of these, maybe I will give you a bar or two.
So we got 300. Anybody want to do more? Then, by the way, we're going to talk about other things, but that carries on as well. So right now it's at 300, and we'll go from there. So Charlie, growing up as you did, because this is basically focused on music, of course, with the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps as a big part of this show. But we'd like to get away from what's going on. I mean, not only the coronavirus, but the horrible killing of George Floyd, and then the protests and the demonstrations, which are fine when they're peaceful, but then a lot of violence and things like that. It's just a tough time for all of us right now. So this thing is that I'm doing on Sunday nights is to have a drink and to get away from it all. So one of the ways people get away from it, of course, is music. Lynn McCary comes in at $350. Thank you, Lynn. Music. And of course, music, as they say, soothes the savage beast. Growing up in England, who are some of the groups that you loved coming up, and what time frame was that?
I grew up in, I became aware of music in the 60s, early 60s. So, and I was a little late, believe it or not, to the Beatles. I was a Cliff Richard and the Shadows fan. I don't know if you know that Cliff Richard and the Shadows.
I didn't know the Shadows, but I know Cliff Richards.
Cliff Richard he had a band called the Shadows, and their lead guitarist Hank Marvin wore, thick black glasses, rather like Buddy Holly.
And 400 from Beth Butler. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, this is terrific. So I grew up with Cliff Richard and the Shadows, people like Helen Shapiro, Jerry and the Pacemakers. But then there was the Beatles, the Turtles. I sort of then started to hear and get into some of the cross, American music. I remember loving the Turtles. And
Jim Stravinsky. Thank you, Jim. The Turtles. Imagine me and you. I do.
That's right. And Eleanor. Hey, Eleanor.
I think you're swell. That's right. Jerry and the Pacemakers.
You really treat me well.
Ferry Across the Mersey. Was that Jerry and the Pacemakers?
Yeah, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Ferry Across the Mersey. He also did this amazing version of the Rodgers and Hammerstein song from Carousel, You'll Never Walk Alone. And he did a version of You'll Never Walk Alone. And the Liverpool Football Club, which is, the Liverpool team, that incidentally is owned by the owner of the Red Sox, Boston Red Sox, same owner group.
Sure.
They adopted Jerry and the Pacemakers, Jerry Marsden's version of You'll Never Walk Alone. And if you go to YouTube and you put in Liverpool Cop, K-O-P, You'll Never Walk Alone, it will blow your mind. It's like you have 80,000 people waving red flags and singing that song as one. And it's the most intimidating ground. Football teams say it's the most intimidating ground to go to because of that, the passion. But when you watch it, even if you don't know what's going on, it brings a tear to your eye. So
passion from soccer fans, or as you say, football fans. Yeah, you don't see that too much. One of the craziest environments I was ever around was in Turkey between Fenerbahce.
Oh yeah.
And what was the other team? That was the team I was rooting for.
Galatasaray. Was it Galatasaray?
No, it was the other one. Oh geez, they're gonna kill me for this.
Galatasaray. I don't know if it's a Turkish team.
Who was the other? We have 525 coming in. I think it was Jay Smoke Wallen bids 525. I don't know who that was. 500 from Smoke, 525 from 550. Beth Butler. Thank you so much, Beth.
Thank you, Beth.
Oh man, they're gonna kill me.
Beth, I noticed. Beth is was adopted, so she very much understands what the Children's Action Corps are up to. And I should mention they do have a program there called Bright Futures, and that's a foster care program because they are very concerned about the foster care process. So they take a lot of care in placing kids prior to having them adopted. So they are very involved in that situation too, where kids are otherwise family-less, left on their own for one reason or another. They're very keen to do that. So thank you, Beth, for the support.
And thank you, Beth. Thank you for that, Charlie. David McCary says 600.
600. Wow, this is fantastic.
Besiktas.
Broken dream.
They took me in. They gave me a scarf. They made me part of charge. I'm so Besiktas, and it was just completely crazy nuts.
Yeah.
Jim Stravinsky, 625. Thank you, Jim. By the way, Charlie, I know that some people know this, but not everybody. You're a Blues fan, the Chelsea Blues. How do you become a supporter of the Blues?
I'm going to take a drink to that.
I remember watching the game at your house.
I am a Chelsea Blues fan, dyed in the wool because I grew up right there next to the ground. I could see the lights of the ground and hear the crowd every time there was a home game at night. And we would walk down the Fulham Road to the ground to see games. My dad, my brother, and I would often go and see a game there in the 60s. I went to Wembley in 1970 for the FA Cup final. They drew. They had to have a replay in Manchester that year, but they did eventually win, beat Leeds. And so we won the FA Cup in 1970. Very exciting. And they came down in a bus, on a topless bus, and they came down our street, my street. So we were waving out the window. It's like, very exciting. So I've been a Blues fan all my life, but I also do like Liverpool. I have to say I'm a great admirer of their side, their passion. I love their team right now. They got a great manager, but I'm missing it. Like a lot of people, I'm missing sport. You know, it's coming back. It's going to be a little strange. They're going to start playing in empty stadiums.
Sure.
But it is coming back so to finish up the season, because the season got stopped midway. So they're going to try and finish it up.
Yeah, it sure did. Lynn McCary says, "Hi, Charlie. I was thrilled to meet you in person after a play you were in here in Arizona. Thanks to our great friend, Jack. You were so gracious. I'll never forget it. And yes, I am friends with the McCary family who are they're bidding. David McCary says $650.
Fantastic.
Speaking of, before we get to that comment, David, my old buddy, I call him Davey Mac. $650. You bet against yourself, Davey. That's not how it works. You had $600. Now you have $650. But the RFK Children's Action Corps thanks you for that. So, Charlie, do you remember meeting these friends of mine? They was such.
Yeah,
fans.
I remember the night you came with them, right? And your mom was there, right?
Yeah, that's right. And you were doing a Christmas Carol, and you played Scrooge. How different from all the characters I've ever seen you play.
Yeah, Scrooge. That was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun there. It's a beautiful theater. And we had a lot of a great time doing that. I did 2 shows. I did the Scrooge, and then the year before I'd done 42nd Street, which was a lot of fun too.
Yeah, Shuffle Off the Buffalo. I remember you were great in that too. So talented. Brad Morrison says, "I can't bet on the guitar, but in honor of Cancer Survivors Day, I'll donate $100 to the Jimmy V Foundation."
That's great. That's terrific.
And for everybody who doesn't know what that is, Jim Valvano was the coach of North Carolina State, and when they won the national championship, and he's running around the court, and he's so happy. And he had such an infectious energy. He was a great coach, and unfortunately, cancer took him. He has a brother, Bob Valvano, that does radio. If you've heard of him, but thank you for doing that, Mr. Morrison. That's great. So, Charlie, you're a fan of the Blues, this soccer team, football team, and then. I'm sure, as so many kids in England you wanted to be a professional footballer, soccer player, yes?
Briefly, yeah. I'm like every kid, I wanted to, but
I wanted to play for the Red Sox and the Boston Bruins.
It didn't take long for that dream to be snuffed out. I mean, I was clearly I had more enthusiasm than talent at football, but that didn't stop me playing. I mean, I would go at school, myself and my friends. On a Sunday after church, we would take a ball, go down to the playing fields at like around 10:30, 11 in the morning, and literally play football until 8 o'clock at night. We would take a little break to go get something to eat, come back, and we'd have this pickup game that would just sort of revolve around. People would come and go, but it would go on for hours. Just hours, just playing football, and happy as a clam. I could do it all day, and I could watch it all day. I drive my wife crazy because I literally could sit and watch football all day, every day, given the chance.
I was at your house, and your wonderful wife was so patient, and I don't want to say you get testy while watching the game, but you're certainly passionate about your team.
I get passionate. And this is the thing that gets a little hard is if Chelsea lose an important game, it actually puts me into a bad mood for about a week. Wow. Until the next Saturday, and hopefully they win the next week. But for about a week, if I'm a little scratchy around the house, Susan will come up to me and say, so what, Chelsea lose today? And I'll go, yes, so what of it?
Yeah, well, I guess you're doing something right. You've been married 37 years. You just celebrated that. So congratulations.
Yeah,
and before we let Charlie go, let's take one last shot at this bidding. This is what you get. A broken guitar that I signed, but I think which is even cooler, Charlie Shaughnessy will call you and have a conversation with you. If that doesn't add to this thing, I don't know what does. The last bit I
might even sing a small duet. Who knows?
David McCary matches his wife Lynn McCary at $650. We'll leave it open for 60 more seconds. Otherwise, we're going to say that's the winning bid. Anyone do better than $650? And again, it's for a great cause. What is the RFK Children's Action Corps? They obviously, as Charlie said so eloquently, but they concern themselves with juvenile justice, which we could always need more of course, and
Right.
child welfare and at-risk youth. It's just really wonderful.
It's
So
really for at-risk youth. Yeah, it's like if you're a kid growing up in a in a bad situation at home, you don't have parents, or one of them is absent, maybe incarcerated. One of them may be addicted to is a substance abuser. The RFK comes and intervenes before they get into trouble and go down the slippery slope into criminal behavior and incarceration. They take those kids out of that situation and give them opportunity to make something of their lives.
That's so great, Charlie. Thank you. We have another bid, 675.
Oh, Jim comes in at the last minute. That's great.
30,
it's like going
30.
Once, going twice.
Yeah, we're going to do 30 seconds. Anybody else? 675, Jim Stravinskis. Does anyone? We have 700. Hey, 700. 675. I don't know how do they do it.
Oh, here's 700. Here's 700. Here's 700.
That alone is worth $700. Charlie Shaughnessy playing auctioneer. Anyone else? Looks like the happy anniversary says Brett Butler. Okay, 10 seconds left on the bid. Does anyone want to come in? 700 says David McCary. 750 says Jim Stravinskis.
Wow, this is really tense.
750. Last bid, 5 seconds. Anyone else? Going once. Going twice. Last bid. Anyone? Sold. The winner.
Jim
$750. Jim Stravinskis. Sorry. Thank you, Jim. And by the way, he was one of the winners on that show. So I guess that's how he found us over here. Thank you, Jim. We'll talk about that later. My producer, Ken, will get in touch with you. Charlie, thank you for your time. I know we held you long, but thank you. And I'll see you on the 18th.
I'll see you on the 18th. And thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And thank you for doing such wonderful things. And thank you, Jim. And I look forward to talking to Jim on the phone soon.
And I'm sorry about I got you in there on that phone call, but thanks.
It's a pleasure. You take care.
Right,
Cheers.
Charlie, everybody. Thank you. All right. We're going to roll right into my next guest. And again, this is a musical hour. Of course, we're drinking. I got the Tequila Sunrise, which is also a song. There's so many tie-ins. My next guest is a very talented singer-songwriter. And she's also a friend of mine. But I do a show called The High Road with Jack Maxwell. When you hear that show, and that's every Friday night, it starts at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, with a live Q&A, and then we do the show, then we do an interview. In any event, the song you hear called The High Road, well, she wrote it. She put it together with a friend of hers, and we're so very happy to have her. Say hi to Anitra Wallen-Carr. Hi, Anitra.
Hi, Jack. How are you?
Wallen. I'm sorry. What do you go by? You have a professional name.
Well, you know, I was Anitra Carr is my birth name, and I was a performer before I met my husband. So as a performer, I'm Anitra Carr. As a regular person, I'm Anitra Wallen, and it doesn't matter. I'm Anitra.
Well, you are a regular person for sure, but I want people to be able to find you on Spotify, so they look up Anitra Carr, yes?
Yeah, it's Anitra, A-N-I. I think my name might be up here somewhere. Anitra with a C-A-R-R. So yeah, I've got Spotify. I'm everywhere. Like anywhere you find music, you should be able to find me, I hope.
There it is right there. And by the way, folks.
Thanks, Ken.
I don't know how many, if you're listening, whether you have any musical talent or inclination. I don't. As you see, the guitar broke itself, so I wouldn't play it anymore. It committed suicide.
I disagree. I've heard you, and I think you're wonderful. So
no, but yeah. Let me tell you how talented this woman is.
Oh, thank you.
We had this show, The High Road, which we still do, like I said, and I hesitated to ask because I know it's how difficult it is for someone to come to you and say, can you write this song with your own lyrics, but this theme and this kind of music? And she said, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And it's a great song. It's wonderful.
I'm so excited about it, but it was such an easy write. I have to tell you, sometimes a song will come in the middle of the night. Sometimes it'll be a little piece of something that I'll use and kind of rework and work for a while before it becomes, like a song. It's like a little nugget of something for a while. But the song about the high road is a song I wrote about you. I mean, it was basically me talking about your journey and what you're doing and where you came from, what you're up to, and that people know you and would recognize you. And I don't know, it all fell into place. And I want to give a credit to my my co-writer. So I work with a guy named Jeremy Lawton. He's out in Denver, Colorado. He's part of a band. If we're going to talk bands, he's he plays with Big Head Todd and the Monsters, and those guys.
We went to that concert in LA, and they were wonderful.
That's right.
By the way,
you met him. Oh, I'm so glad. That's right. I forgot that.
That's right. And thank you for taking me to that show. They were great.
Yeah, Jeremy gave us the tickets. That was pretty nice.
Thank you, Jeremy Lawton.
Yeah,
thank you for helping Anitra write a great song. And,
he took it up a notch. He really did a lot of research about what would work well with a TV show, you know. So he did a lot more of that homework. And I'm lyrics and melody, and he's, you know, everything else. So.
I know it's one thing to listen to a musician talk, but we have a nice surprise for you. Anitra is going to play live a little bit later on.
Yeah, well, we're having technical difficulty for my songs in the garden, so you may get stuck with me just strumming a few notes on a guitar here and just you know, have to wing it that way.
We will take you any way we can get you, because art is art after all, and how you express yourself is what's important. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be you sharing yourself with us, right? Cheers to that. What are you drinking?
I made a vodka soda with a little lemon wedge, and I went a little light on it so that I would, you know, kind of stay clear-minded for our conversation.
Maggie G says, I'm a kidney cancer survivor. Congratulations to you, Maggie. So, okay, let me ask you, because I know a lot of artists who let's say, consume substances one way or the other, and I don't want to paint that with a big wide brush and stereotype it, but I know we get our muses, our inspiration wherever we can. Do you feel you're better with a drink or two, or not? And let me tell you, it's not just artists or Hollywood or whatever. I was in Spain, and there was a bullfighter, and he had his own bulls, and he goes in there and rides with them and trains them, and there was a dozen mad, angry bulls, and he was on a horse, and he said, you know, I drink this alcohol, this other show I used to do. And he said, I drink one because if I have one, I know. But if I have more than one, the bulls know.
Yeah, that's funny. You know, when I was younger, it used to take me, I used to think like, oh, I'll do a shot of Grand Marnier or something like that to have a little bit less nerves and edge on stage. And then over the years, and once I realized and I heard myself record it, I was like, oh no, that's very bad. So I want to say hi to and thank you to everybody for all these wonderful comments, and hi, John Sharkey. The funny thing for me is that if I'm drinking, I usually say to people, if I'm drinking, I'm not singing, because I go flat. And I can hear it that I'm flat, but I can't fix it. So it's a very strange thing. It's like I can't tune it back to get where it needs to be between my brain and my ear and my voice. So yeah, so I'm not, if I'm singing, if I'm performing, I'm a sober girl.
By the way, Jim Stravinskas, who just won the bidding on the guitar, says, my wife Mary is a cancer survivor. Can she have a shout out, Jack? Absolutely. Not only a shout out, Anitra and I will toast her and you. Here's to you, Mary. On National Cancer Survivors Day. So I'm not being a very good friend today because I put Charlie on the spot, and now he has to call the winner, Jim Stravinskas, but I know he doesn't mind because he's such a good guy, or a good chap, as they say across the pond. And I
wanted to give it my Fran Drescher laugh. I wanted to go the ha.
You did it at the beginning, but only slightly. I think that because he's friends with Fran, I don't think he wants her to think that he was making fun of her.
Oh, I'm not making fun. I'm a huge fan.
No, I know you're not, but I'm sure that she's only heard that about 10,000 times in her life, if that. But I put him on the spot, but it was for a good cause. Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps. This is completely selfish, because the show I do, The High Road. Can you just give us just a little a cappella of The High Road, please?
Oh gosh, sure. You remember me from long ago. I gotta get my key. We've been here before, been down this road. Travel around the world 1,000 times. Burn 1,000,000 miles, pay for our crimes. Finding our way home. Gonna take the high road.
That's great. I try to do the drums there where they're supposed to go because I've heard it so many times. That was wonderful. I totally put you on the spot, and you delivered. Thank you for that.
Anytime.
So growing up, as a little girl, everybody, of course, have their dreams. Like I said to Charlie, I wanted to play for the Red Sox, and then I wanted to be Bobby Orr, play for the Boston Bruins, and then I wanted to be Carly Scrivsy, play for the Red Sox, back and forth. I knew I wasn't tall enough to ever play basketball, and the Patriots stunk, so nobody wanted to play for them at the time. What the juggernaut they turned into. So and then one day I gave up on that dream because I was good at sports, but I knew I wasn't great. What did you want to be as a little girl, and when did you decide it was music?
Gosh, it's funny. I really was focused on ballet. I was a ballerina until I was injured when I was about 13 years old. I was performing in a ballet company in New York. But during that time, I grew up singing. I've been singing in church. I think when I was in first grade, I figured out that I actually had some pipes. And then throughout always sang. But it was after I auditioned for the Broadway play Annie when I was a kid. They did this open, what do they call those? Like a cattle call? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
700 little girls showed up in Manhattan, and I went in with my cousins, and we all tried out. And after they whittled it down, but I got down to like the last 7 or 8 people.
Is that the one with Andrea McCardle?
No, funny. Andrea was the first Annie, and then it was Shelley Bruce, I believe, and then it's the third. I think it was the third one.
Okay.
Allison Smith ended up. She was my singing partner when they put kids together to sing the song together, and she got it. She was lovely. But I think what it showed me was at that time I was like, wow, you know what? I could do this. I was a kind of a jolt in my. To my heart that I had a shot, like I came close, and that was with no training or anything. So it's been my passion. I feel alive when I sing. It's been a driving force in my life, and it's always kind of been on the back burner because I always had another 2 other jobs and putting myself to school or working. Hard to make a living as a singer-songwriter.
Yeah, it sure is. Not only that, unless you have a stage mom and a wealthy family that's willing to take you to every audition and put you in every class. For most of us who have the dream, we pretty much have to do it ourselves. And again, there are exceptions, and you really have to be motivated to say, not only do I want to be an artist, but this is what I want to do the rest of my life, whether I make money or not. And of course, the reality is we have to put roofs over our heads. We have to put food on the table. How did you balance that? Because that's a tough one.
Well, you know what? Really, the interesting piece is that I've always continued to perform, and those who have grown to know me, I've got a wonderful community of people all over the country, and I dare I say around the world. But I have a lot of people that have invited me to come and perform at places, and they've put other musicians around me. And then once I had the ability and had I had a business and I had the ability to support myself, I would take gigs and my band would get paid. And so that's always been what my focus is to make sure the musicians get paid, because I'm not doing it for the money. I'm really fortunate that I don't need to do it that way, and that I can just put my music out there and follow my passion and do it when it feels right, and when I find people that really believe in what I believe in, and they, when it's all like just kind of really fits, it's wonderful. And I feel really, I feel lucky that I'm able to do what I love to do so much, with all the support that I have around me now.
What inspires you now? I mean, I know you've lived quite the life, and like you said, you're married to the great Jay Smoke Wallen, who's also a friend of mine.
He's the best. He's my biggest fan and my greatest supporter, and he reminds me constantly that I need to be singing. So it's really great. Awesome.
Actually, for those who don't know, and I'll keep it short because this is about my guest, not about me. when I do this show, and it's about you. So please come in with more questions and comments. Amy Hull says her twin sister is a breast cancer survivor. Congratulations to you and your sister, Amy. But we actually met. I met Anitra and her husband, Smoke. Well, basically, we became friends, let's say, at the bar.
Yeah, at a drinks industry. You were a keynote speaker at a drinks industry event, and so was my husband.
But
so
but yes, we both did our thing. But at the bar, we were drinking, and you started singing, and I said, "Wow, what a voice!" And it was that night we were drinking and singing together. You doing one of those better than me, maybe both. But we became friends and have been friends still. I really appreciate you. Beth Butler says you have a beautiful voice, and I concur. I appreciate you coming on with me to Jack's Place. Another question about this. I asked you earlier what inspires you. Is there a time when you just something hits you and you're just so compelled and focused that you have to write lyrics, you have to write music, you're drawn like a moth to a flame, that you say, I have to get this out, otherwise I'll be stressed and intense all day long. Do you ever feel that kind of inspiration?
Yeah, it's interesting that you put it to those words. Like, I sometimes it's when I was younger, I would write from my journals. So I was upset about something, and I would write about it, and then kind of reflect on it and see if there was something lyrical in it. And a dear friend of mine said years ago that I tell the story of whatever is going on. So normally what happens is that I feel something hits me funny or upsets me. And that is the kind of the energy that usually, or something inspires me. I'll see something beautiful. I'll be on a hike and I see something and I'm like, oh, or I hear a story about a person and they share something with me and something sits, and that's usually how it kind of percolates. It comes different ways, but there's definitely if I'm feeling something, I'm writing about it. So
I know for me, when I'm feeling creative, it's like a whirlwind. It's the Tasmanian devil is not only in my head but my soul, and I just have to do so many things. It's how I did Booze Traveler with all this the passion I have, because I love people and love cultures, and I love a couple of cocktails. And to be able to do that was such a wonderful experience. And I just loved every moment of it. And I just was compelled every minute. I got up like a rocket, and I just couldn't wait to meet these new people and to have this new experience. And that kind of creating for me was just exceptional. It's just a wonderful feeling. I want to talk about this other thing for a moment. We like to give shout outs to local businesses, especially at a time like this. And I want you also in your comments to say the local businesses that you support, especially during this time. You know that businesses are having a hard time now between the virus, and then, of course, a lot of businesses were damaged. And we'd love to support the locals. And there's one that I support. As you know, if you heard probably a million times, whether on my show or anything else I did or talked about or podcast, I love a restaurant in Arizona called the Arizona Breadfruit and Rum Bar. And, they just got great food and wonderful Caribbean rums, and the people who own it, Danielle Leone's the chef, and Dwayne Allen is they're both friends of mine, but he's a wonderful cocktails guy, and it's just really great. But they pivoted, which is such a smart thing to do. And they started making ginger beer, which I drink now. And this is not a paid thing, by the way, they're just friends of mine, bigmarble.com. And this is brand new. By the way, they're the only fair trade, organic, and vegan certified ginger beer in the world, from what I understand, certainly in the States. So how great is that? But this is not a pitch for them. Tell us about your business in your area that you'd love to support. And we'll put it up on the screen. That's bigmarble.com. That's my choice here in Arizona. What's yours? And we'll do this next week too, because I know time is running short here. Although, who cares, right? Who cares if we go long? I hope you'll stay with us. But like I said, Anitra is going to sing live for us. Should it turn out that way, of course, unless she gets mad at me between now and then for having us sing a cappella. By the way, you can put the @ you can hashtag them, you can so we can look them up as well. Carambas, best margaritas, says Teresa. Local mom and pop restaurant, says Jim. Okay, great. That's all great. Tell us who you love. Anitra, the song you're going to sing. Tell us about that, where it comes from, what your inspiration was, everything we could possibly know.
Jack, I had two different plans. I had a plan A and a plan B for you. So I'll tell you about plan A, but I think we're going with plan B. Plan A was written about, it's called She Ain't Me. And I was going to do it live in the garden, but we've got technical difficulties, I guess. There's something wrong with the signal here, and we were trying to get it to work. So Ken basically said no go on that. So, and it was a song I wrote about my husband, before we were married, being at a bar, listening to some other girl sing. And I basically was like, she ain't me, baby. Get out of there. So, yeah, really funny, right? But the one I thought about playing is, it's one of the first songs I ever learned on guitar a long time ago. And it's a Tracy Chapman song. And I don't, she's wonderful. And I thought I would, if I needed to, I would play a little bit of that song, Baby, Can I Hold You? But that's just one of my favorites. I wanted to people, I think, here's the thing I think about. We could do a duet. I don't know if that'll work on this thing, but.
First of all, that's like taking the cheapest, most horrible moonshine in the world and mixing it again with top shelf liquor. I would never, ever do that to you. And I can't sing. Most people can at least sing in the shower. I can't even sing in the shower. That's how bad my voice is. Hashtag fat baby in Boston, Beth Rossi. Thank you. But so we'll go with plan B. And if you'd break us with a little bit of that, that would be fantastic. And we all love Tracy Chapman, right? Laura says, I just came back from, we missed it. Maggie G, supporting a local brewery in Colorado, 105 West Brewery. Fantastic. Some more comments, and we'll read them off. Amy Hull, love ginger beer in the Vernon Hills, Illinois area. Half Day Brewery is my favorite place to hang out. They make great beers. Also, Firkin has great local beers and food. Thank you for that, Amy. Okay, Vicky Brogan, Great Links Brewhouse and Grill, Northwest Las Vegas, Nevada. Great food, awesome people. I'm learning how to say that right. It's Nevada, not Nevada. Okay. Nevada? What's that?
It's Nevada?
Nevada, not Nevada. Yeah, they and also it's Las Vegas, not Las Vegas, because I get lazy and say it that way. So thanks for whoever corrected me a million times in my life, all the people who do. Anyway, we're going to hold the comments for a couple of minutes because we want to focus on Anitra and her wonderful voice and her talent singing Tracy Chapman. Get it.
All right. So I'm going to give you, if it doesn't sound right, you got to give me the flag on this, okay? Because I'm not sure how it's going to translate live in my living room to the computer, okay? But
sure.
Here it goes.
Absolutely.
Sorry is all that you can say. Years gone by and still the words don't come easily. Like sorry, yeah. Forgive me is all that you can say. Years gone by and still the words don't come easily. Like forgive me. You can say baby, can I hold you tonight? Maybe if I told you the right words at the right time, you'd be mine. I love you is all that you can say. Years gone by and still the words don't come easily. Like I love you. You can say baby, can I hold you tonight? Maybe if I told you the right word at the right time. You'd be mine. Baby, can I hold you tonight? Maybe if I told you the right words at the right time, you'd be mine. You'd be mine. Oh, you'd be mine.
Oh, I know that a million people out there, whoever is listening, is clapping. You got so many beautiful, wonderful comments. The voice of an angel, great voice, wows, hearts, everything. Anitra, wow, no kidding. What a treat. Thank you, Jack, for introducing us to Anitra Soulful. Before I forget, how can they get a hold of you? Not just Spotify, please.
Okay.
I'm asking you to play that because people want to see you.
So I'm on all social media platforms that I think. Well, I'm on a couple of them, right? So my hashtag is Anitra Sings. So I'm Anitra Sings on Twitter. Although I'm getting better at social media. Thank you, Jack. I know I'm always looking for you for guidance.
Actually, it's your handle. The hashtag.
My handle is Anitra Sings.
There you go.
But if you look for Anitra Carr, yeah, there it is. Anitra Sings on Instagram, Anitra Sings on Twitter, or you find me as Anitra Carr. I have a website, anitracarr.com. And where else would I be? Oh, I'm on YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel. I've got all kinds of live stuff, and my album is on Apple and Spotify and Amazon and Pandora, and anywhere I could be, I'm trying to be.
And also the writer and singer of The High Road. It was such an honor for you to do that for me. Thank you.
I'm so excited about it. I got to get, we should get Jeremy on something like this. He's so funny. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to us getting together, you and me, and maybe you can sing that song with me. That'd be fun, right?
No, I will not sing ever I'll sing in public. I do karaoke, whatever. I would never try to me with you. It's just not right. It's just not right to do that. Because you're a beautiful, wonderful singer, and I know that I can't do that. We could do other things, but I would never ruin you like that. By the way, I know people have said this to you. I say it, and I hear it again. You have the soulfulness of someone who's been through it, and I'm sure Tracy Chapman would be proud. But I must say this, because at one time in my life, and I'm not sure it's so different, I thought, okay, so I ran into a singer once. I was hiking Runyon Canyon, and her CD happened to be in my car at that time. I swear to you.
Wow.
And she was bent over, and I said, "Are you okay?" And she said, "Yeah, just a tough hike." We chatted for a couple of minutes, and I said to that person, because I had said it to many friends, and they would vouch for me on this one. They said, "Who's your favorite singer right now?" And this was the mid-'90s, and I said, Natalie Merchant. She truly has the voice of an angel. Not even that. I don't know what to say. For all the voices I've heard in my life, Karen Carpenter, Barbara Streisand, all these great singers, and so many of them. Patti Smith, there's a ton. I just was drawn to her music and her soulfulness, and you have that. And unless I'm wrong, you kind of sound like her in certain places. People tell you that, right?
Yeah, it's funny. So the women that you mentioned, Karen Carpenter as well, Natalie Merchant was a huge influence for me. I'm a huge fan of hers. I have followed her career. I've seen her perform a ton of times, and I've covered her on. Let me think about this. I covered her on my first album with my old band back in the 99, 2000, and I've always sung her music. There's something that people find familiar in my tone, or something that reminds them of her. I get that for a few artists, but yeah, Natalie Merchant for sure, Jack. And that's why I think, when we first met and you heard me sing, because you're such a good fan of Natalie's and you love her sound, I think that's one of the reasons why you kind of like mine. So I
No,
think that's
it's not just that, because it's not as if you're doing an impersonation of her or you
no,
sound just like her. But there are times when you hit certain notes, certain moments where it's reminiscent of that, and that's okay, because listen, you have so many original songs out there.
yeah.
It's not as if you're a Natalie Merchant tribute band or anything like that. So, um,
I'll tell you something though, a funny story. I know we're out of time. So when I was younger, like I said, I had this band and I was playing, and we got reviewed one night. The Westward is a magazine in Denver, and they kind of said where people should go on Friday night. It was like the recommendation, and they called out my band and said, we recommend you go see this band. And they said Anitra has the ability to channel Natalie Merchant, and they said something else or whatever. Right? But that we sold out the club. I mean, we completely sold out the club. I had a packed like floor of young women, huge Natalie Merchant fans, suddenly overnight were my fans. And they knew all the words to my songs, and they were there. And it was like, I was like, oh my gosh, it was overwhelming and fabulous. So, you know, it's there. I get it.
And that's why I decided to do a Jack's Place focusing on music, because it can be so transformative. It can heal our souls, and we certainly need that at a time like this. You're just amazing, Anitra. Thank you.
I love you. Thank you
so much. I love you too, and we'll have you on again, hopefully. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you for joining me. We'll talk soon.
Bye. Bye.
Okay, so that's Anitra Carr. Please look her up if you love her music, because I certainly do. Amazing. Okay, so there's another thing I want to talk to you about. It's called the Virtual Road Trip, and it's a contest, by the way, because I know we can't travel right now. And so the next best thing is to travel virtually. So here's the contest. You get to pick anywhere in the world, and I mean anywhere, you'd like to go with me to have a drink. And if you get chosen, we will go there virtually. We're going to do this now. We just, we're doing it for this week already. We've already accepted a bunch of videos. We narrowed it down to 4, and we're having you vote. If you go right here to this, if you look up this graphic on YouTube and Facebook and click on it, you can vote on one of the 4 videos. They're short too. You can check them out. And it's really fun. I mean, there's some great, really fun, creative videos, and that might help you if you want to submit a video. It might inspire you just a bit. But we're going to do it. I don't know how often we're going to do it, but this week is the voting. So next Sunday, we will take the winner. That person will be right here on Jack's Place, and we will take you to that place, and we will have a drink. We'll take you there virtually, of course. We'll have a drink virtually, and we'll do it maybe for the next few weeks in a row. Who knows? If it goes well and you really love it, we'll keep doing it. So make a short video of where you would like to go with me, what you would like to drink, and why you want to go there. But have fun with it. Show some passion, which is what this is all about, isn't it? Charlie Shaughnessy acted with passion. Anitra sings with passion. We all have passion for what we think is the right thing to do. Hopefully we'll do that a little more often going forward. And something near and dear to my heart, the Robert F. Kennedy Children's Action Corps is really close to me, and I back them with passion. And I hope maybe you will find something that you're just as passionate about. So you can email your videos to right here, SouthieJackAZ@gmail.com. Leave that up for a second, will you? So they can write that down or take a picture of it, a screenshot or something. So make a video. There's no time frame on it, but the shorter the better. And energy and fun will help you get further. Because Ken, my producer, and I, we choose the finalists, but then you pick the winner. So if you want to vote, the voting is still open on these 4. And like I said, the winner comes on next week. It's been a wonderful hour. Thank you so much. It's been a little more than an hour. An hour 8. This is the longest we've ever gone, but there was so much to talk about. And since I'm at the end of my tequila sunrise, I guess the sun sets on this episode of Jack's Place. Thank you so much. Let's be better going forward and kinder to each other. We'll see you next week right here. Thank you for joining me.